Hey guys, my name is Tane and this is my capstone presentation. So for my capstone project, I chose to film and edit a skate video. So I chose to do this because I've always had a great passion for skateboarding and for making videos and editing videos. And I thought this would be perfect because I have a bunch of friends who are super good at skateboarding and who would be stoked to get some footage of them. I think maybe potentially I could go into a sort of career for maybe editing and filming video. I've always kind of wanted to ever since I was little, and so this is why I've chose to film and edit a skate video for my capstone. So the skate video that I have created is kind of based on lots of skate edits from like 1985s up until like early 2000s. I chose to do this because to me this is when skateboarding was at its prime. The progression was crazy and the videos and the aesthetics were freaking sweet. So in a skate video there's a few major components. Obviously you have your skateboarding, which is very important. This consists of different angles, of different tricks and different spots and different ideas of filming. Another component is something called referred to in the skateboard industry as hijinks, or we call B-roll, which is just kind of clips messing around, you know. A lot of it's like typically could be drinking and smoking and nudity, but you know, because we're all children of Jesus, we would never do that anyways. So our B-roll looks a little bit different, you know. Another key component of a skate edit is the music. So you have to base your music around what kind of clips you have. Has to go with the flow of the video. It's super important. So for my research, I watched as many skate edits as I could from like 1985 to early 2000s, as I explained before. I watched so many skate edits. I got so much inspiration. Inspiration was definitely key. That's really what pushes you to keep going and to get new ideas. I decided on the format of my edit, which, as I said before, I wanted it to be more old school, which we did by using different lenses and different cameras to achieve this goal. I talked to all my friends about their ideas of a skate edit and what we could do and kind of take from one person and put into the idea. I also discovered a bunch of skills that I would need to complete this goal. For example, different filming techniques and editing techniques, which I'll get into later, which is a whole thing. And I discovered some tools that I would need to complete this too. So different camera gear and lenses, which I love spending money on that stuff anyways. That was kind of a good time. So let's talk camera gear. This is something that was super important to my skate edit and that I spent countless hours on deciding on which gear I wanted to get and what I already had and what I could already use. So we decided to use these cameras called handycams. Handycams are these small, compact little video cameras, probably from around early 2000s, 2010 kind of thing. They're super good for skateboarding. They're actually quite like notorious for skate edits, right beside like the VX1000. They're small and compact, but they're really good because you can put them super low to the ground, which you'll see in a bit here. When you're filming skateboarding, you want to be super low to the ground for some angles. This is super important for us because being low to the ground and having a compact little camera like that makes the clips just look better and fit the vibe more. We also chose to use these cameras because along with filming in HD, which is high definition, they also film in SD, which is standard definition. This we found was super key because we didn't actually want our footage to look super good. As stupid as that sounds, we wanted it to look like it was created in the early 2000s. So my friend Ike already actually had a camera just like this that we've been using for snowboard edits in the winter and started messing around with skateboarding on. But we didn't really discover its full potential until I started researching on how to use it for skateboarding. So as you can see here, these are the two cameras that we used primarily to film our skate edit. This one on the left here is a Canon HF10, and this one is my camera, and it is a Sony HDR SR10. As you can see here, we've got the fisheye lens too. This is super important for filming skateboarding because it allows you to get super close to the rider without cutting anything off in the frame. It also just adds to the general aesthetic of the video. So this lens fits onto this camera, which meant that this camera is pretty much our primary camera for filming close things and low to the ground angles. This camera has a really good optical zoom on it, and it doesn't have a fisheye on it, so we decided to use this camera for most of our kind of longer angles and not fisheye clips. So I just wanted to talk about some of the various skills and techniques that I learned throughout the creation of my capstone. One major component to this was just filming techniques and skills. So I learned a lot of different ways of filming skateboarding, which are super important to my capstone. I learned how to properly use a handy cam and to use different lenses and get different angles. I learned the best angles for skateboarding and how to make things look bigger or how to make things look more the way that you want them or how you imagine them in your head. I learned the different roles of a filmer. So the role of a filmer in skateboarding is super important. They have a bunch of different things that they need to do and check up on. One being the fact that they need to capture the best footage that they possibly can, right? So that's primarily based on the actual filming aspect of it. The second, that's not super obvious, is that the filmer needs to make sure that the skaters are all right. They're kind of the mother of the group, you know? They're trying to make sure everyone's not pushing themselves too hard or nobody's going to get super injured. Obviously, skateboarding comes with a lot of injury, and that's just going to happen anyways, but you're making sure that the spot has no rocks, you're sweeping the spot every time the skater lands, you're motivating them, you're egging them on. Pretty much the main idea is that it's not about the filmer, it's about the skater. The filmer is just there to make sure they get the best footage and to make sure the skater is okay. Another skill that I had to learn, which is super important, was just how to not get hit in the face by the board every time the skater lands a trick. So when filming skateboarding, it is super common for a skater to land and their board to like shoot at the camera, which causes all sorts of problems, even breaking lenses sometimes, or breaking arms or whatever. But so this being said, I had to learn how to get the best footage while getting as close as possible to the skater, but also dodging their board and being able to react quickly without really seeing what's happening, because the whole time you're looking at your screen, right? You're filming and you're looking at your screen, not really aware of what else is happening around you. Another huge thing I had to learn was how to edit this video. So the editing software that I was using is called VSDC, which is a free software, which is great because I didn't want to spend any more money after my lenses and camera. But it's super good. It's quite similar to Wondershare Filmora 9, which is quite a popular editing service for the skateboarding world. It does everything I needed it to do. I had to learn a lot of new skills and how to navigate the software, which actually took me quite a decent amount of time. I learned to do this through videos and different examples online, and I also had a friend who is quite familiar with the software already who helped me through a lot of the editing process. So I broke the capstone process into about 9 steps. Number 1 being planning out the edit and getting different clip ideas. This I achieved by talking to my friends, gathering information and ideas about different clips and different ideas, different spots we could hit, different tricks we could do. I also did this by watching as many skate edits as I could, so I could really gain inspiration and figure out how I was going to present my video. Number 2 was filming all the clips. This took the majority of the time, as I would spend hours and hours at the skate park every day and following my friends around and getting clips and going to Nelson and traveling around and skating as much as we could. And even all the clips that weren't even used, we filmed so much stuff that didn't even make it into the edit. Number 3 was finding appropriate music for the edit. This took me a super long time as I listened to way too much music and I am quite indecisive with these kind of things. Number 4 was putting all the clips together and reviewing with my friends. So this consisted of all of us sitting down together with all of our footage together in one spot, plugging our handy cams into the TV, and reviewing what footage we didn't want to use and what footage we wanted to take out, what footage we wanted, different ideas to improve certain clips. But this was super important. Number 5 was editing the final project. So I did this step probably 4 times because I had to edit the video and then share it with my friends, and they'd give me feedback and it wasn't good enough yet and I'd have to edit it again. So I did that about 4 times, although it's a super important step. Number 6 was sharing the final edit with my homies and gathering feedback. Again, as I already said, this is super important because you want to make sure that everyone is happy with their footage, and maybe if someone wants to redo something or want to do something again, then you have time to go do that before you finalize it for sure. Number 7 is finalizing the edit and doing the last finishing touches. So this is like absolute last call for feedback, because after this I'm finally importing the project. Number 8 is importing the project, which is pretty much finalizing it and uploading it to the internet. So we met quite a few challenges and difficulties while filming this skate edit. Number 1 being the weather, because you can't really skateboard in the rain as it damages your bearings, and I probably wouldn't want to film in the rain either, as it would be pretty crap for my cameras. Another challenge that we met was finding time and scheduling. So we had to make sure that a large majority of people were there for most of the filming sessions that we did, just to make sure that we could film everybody, we could get all the clips we needed. Another difficulty that I met in particular while filming this edit was holding super awkward positions while filming. Like, a lot of the angles that we got were super low down, and so like I'd be like squatting down like this, I'd be like getting the clip, I'd be like super weird, like super awkward and back-breaking stuff. The last challenge I wanted to talk about was like injuries. So for a lot of the riders, injuries are super common. It happens all the time. It's kind of part of the sport. But for example, like Ike concussed himself twice while filming this. Yarrow threw his shoulder out a few times. Wyatt broke his arm. Teo broke a rib. It goes on. It's ridiculous. But all in all, it's worth it for the edit.